Hello, welcome to the Monkey Nut Punch podcast with me, your host, Gareth, and my stalwart, Keith. Hello, Keith.
I've been upgraded to stalwart. That's amazing. Hi.
Yes, you've been upgraded to stalwart.
Chief Stalwart, reporting for action, sir.
Yes, so last week, as a little snafu, I pressed the live broadcast on the wrong channel.
Hi, Chuck.
Hi, Chuck. Hi, Chuck. Sorry. Hopefully it will be fine this week. Chuck's already in the chat, so he must be on the right channel. Yes. Be sure to X the chat and hit the like button. Oh, okay, cool. Hang on a second. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So if you want to talk away in the chat, and we'll get round to your comments and bits. But the normal new format goes as follows. It's goes like this. We talk about some news, and then we talk about something we've been watching recently, and then we talk about something we like. So this week we've got 3 news stories. Then we talk about something we've been watching, and that's Dune 2, because I can now talk about it, because I saw it on Monday evening with my father-in-law. And there's something nice we can talk about is we can do Harry Potter. We can go through the Harry Potter films. So we've got 8 weeks of Harry Potter. So Keith, should we talk about our first news story?
Yeah.
Which is, in a recent appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, Zack Snyder, known for his work on Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice, and the original Justice League, shared his unconventional views on the concept of character canon within the DC extended universe. Snyder expressed his disinterest in strictly adhering to established character canon, sparking discussion on the balance between creative freedom and our lovely go word, respecting the source material. So yes, I think, right, so I listened to parts. Thanks, Keith. I listened to parts of this, just a few clips that people have brought out, and one of them was in regards to Superman killing someone.
Yeah, I heard it was Batman.
Oh, there was Batman too. There was Batman too. Yeah.
Okay, so you said it about Superman.
Superman as well. So they talk about Superman and Zod. So the idea of Superman is that he is Superman not just in physicality, but in his way that he conducts himself. Yeah, so that's the idea of Superman. He's supposed to be a paragon of virtue. He's genuinely supposed to be a paragon of virtue, so people can look up to him and follow his examples and stuff, because he has all this power, but doesn't need to use it all the time. Yeah, he could literally do a Homelander and just pulverize people into a pulp whenever he feels like it. That's why the evil Superman trope, whether you like it or not, is interesting. Yeah, because what would Superman look like if he wasn't playing by his rules? So going to the Zod thing, and they were talking about him. There was a clip of him about him with Zod killing it, and there was another one about Batman too. It was the idea of killing Zod was supposed to be his rule, the basis of his rule for not killing people. Yeah, that was supposed to be the idea. He killed Zod because he had no choice. He was put in an impossible situation, and he killed Zod because of that. And that was supposed to be, that's why he had the screaming fit and this, that, and the other. That's why he disappeared, and no one saw him for ages, because he was like, oh shit, I killed Zod. Shouldn't have killed Zod. Now, Superman in the comics, he would have found a way around. Yeah, he would have found a way around. He would have chucked their asses into the Phantom Zone, frozen them, done something not to do it. I kind of get the idea of it. I get where the logic comes from. Don't agree with it, but I get where the logic comes from. So we got that, and then there was the Batman comment about Batman killing someone because it was like kind of our killer, and goes, "I know you will," and then he kills him. Yeah, so one of the mutants. I think they're supposed to be the mutants. This is the problem with Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder just like grabs all this stuff. So he grabs like the stuff, the deconstructive parts of the Dark Knight Returns, which is a fantastic, the best Batman story ever. Full stop. Yeah, it's fantastic. My son has ADHD, and we watched it, all of it, and he was glued to the screen. Yeah, a kid with ADHD was just like, "Dad, this is really good." It was for 3 hours. All the two parts of the cartoon back to back, 3 hours. Watched the whole thing, loved it. Fight with Superman at the end, fantastic. Okay, Superman, I think, because Superman got a bit of redemption in there, and part of me is like kind of, there's a bit where Batman whispers now, yeah, and I'm thinking Superman's going to hear that. Is Superman in on it? Yeah, because Superman might not like what he's doing, and therefore might be actually in on the whole thing. Yeah, and then he kicks the crap out of him, which he probably wasn't expecting. Um, but he needed to sell it. But he could clearly, at the end of the end of the animated thing, not necessarily the comic, he could hear his heartbeat going. So he knew that Bruce was alive. Didn't say anything. Yeah. So part of me thinks Superman was in on it because he didn't like what he was doing either.
I just
sorry.
feel the comment about Batman was. I never enjoyed Zack Snyder's versions of of the DC movies. The bit
Yeah.
where you had Superman hovering over this poor family who are in the flooded house and making him look like he's god like. I never really enjoyed.
Yeah. There was the messianic stuff. Yeah.
And the thing about Batman is the whole core of Batman is he doesn't kill people. And then turning around and saying that about Batman shows that he didn't understand the characters at all. He didn't
Yeah.
understand the characters at all. I can hear a little bit about where he's coming from about Superman, but the core of the character of Batman was he didn't kill people. That was not so much the core of Superman in many ways. I mean, it was never explicit like it was with Batman. Batman doesn't do guns. Batman doesn't kill people. He kicks the living shit out of them, but he doesn't kill people. And for Zack Snyder to turn around and go, you DC guys, you've got to get over it, and let me depict Batman killing people. No, because that's the whole point of the character. He was a detective, right? He trained himself up so he could kick the crap out of criminals. But that's why the Joker was never killed, really. That's why the Penguin was never killed, despite what they did. And that's because Batman didn't kill people.
See,
he had a moral ground.
That's what made the Dark Knight Returns so good, is the bit where he finally decides that he's going to kill the Joker, and the Joker realizes he's going to kill him, and then he gets to him and he snaps his neck, but doesn't kill him. Yeah? And the Joker's like, "Oh, I'm going to have to finish himself off, aren't I? But they'll never know it was me." Big old grin. That made it work. And then in the animated thing you can see where Batman looks back at the Joker's thingy, knowing that he's fucked him over by snapping his own neck, and he's like, "Don't stop laughing at me." Yeah, because and it's they're like modern mythos. The idea of you've got two Batman and Superman are two polar opposites of each other. One's in the light and one's in the dark. Yeah, one has superpowers, one doesn't have superpowers. Yeah, one was from an ordinary upbringing, the other was from a privileged upbringing. Yeah. And you've got all these bits in there that you can tell the two characters apart. But they're both the rules are that for both of them that they do not kill, because that's wrong. That's the thing.
They were grounded in morality. You had this godlike being, and okay, he didn't kill people as a rule. In the film, I didn't have him. I understood why he did what he did to Zod in the film. The destruction beforehand was a bit stupid, but this is Zack Snyder. Look, the guy's made one or two decent movies, but usually it's more about the spectacle rather than writing a good movie. He's no Denis Villeneuve, um, um,
No, I think.
and that's the problem with him. And to say this about Batman, and then kind of look surprised when people sort of go, "No, fuck off, Zach." It literally is rule number one,
T-shirt.
set in stone, fucking mantra of Batman. It is the core of the character. Yes, his parents died. Yes, that is. But the literal core of this character and what grounds it in morality and what makes him a hero rather than a vigilante running around just beating the shit out of people is that he doesn't kill people. It is that he doesn't use guns, that he is on the side of righteousness. And just, you know, coming out and saying that, it just means you know nothing, mate. You know nothing. So yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got James Gunn's take on it, which if it was doing a Batman parody thing, I think but sorry, Superman parody, because that's the first one's coming out. But I have concerns about that. But
he's released the suit and the red underpants are back, which is interesting. Maybe he's going back to basics. I don't know. We will have to see. But I fully understand why you have reservations, as do I. I mean, I think what's his face could have been a really good Superman had he had the right writers. I think he would have been a really good ambassador for Superman. He would have played a really good Superman. It's just a shame that he had to star in Zack Snyder's movies. So yeah,
it's
there you go.
Yeah, it's no, yeah, I like the look of the Zack Snyder stuff. Yeah, that's it. It looks all right. It looked good visually.
But that's what it's good on the visuals.
But I'll be honest with you, you could probably chop out all the dialogue and turn it into a music video, and it'd probably be the best version of anything Zack Snyder ever did.
True.
Yeah, that's how I see it. It's I'm very frustrated because the potential is kind of wasted, because he got some of the casting right. I think Ben Affleck as Batman, older Batman, works, even though I would have started earlier. Yeah. See, I've got a great idea. I've got an arc for a 5 Superman film. Yeah, and the middle part is when Lex Luthor becomes president, which makes it all make things a bit more difficult and a bit more exciting, because it needs to be the story of these two people. Yeah, having their little battles, and then you can throw some of the other superheroes in there helping them out in places too, to make things a bit more interesting. But
yeah, agreed.
It's one of those things, and yeah. Anyway, do you want to move on to our next one?
I do, yes.
Okay, so if you want to take the banner down, please, if you'd be so kind. You want to talk about benders?
How am I meant to follow? Go on.
Netflix's adaptation of The Last Airbender has quickly become a monumental success, securing seasons 2 and 3. This continuing promise to delve deeper into Aang's journey on the ongoing war of the Fire Nation offers fans a more rich and immersive experience. I haven't heard much about The Last Airbender. It seems to have... Everyone watched it in the first week, and then all the interest died.
Well, it's been watched by 21 million homes, they reckon. There is this campaign on the internet to just slate it. And I don't know where it's coming from, because it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that egregious.
How much do you know about The Last Airbender as the first thing?
Well...
That's my
I know
my point.
I know that they made changes according to the cartoon. Like the brother is quite sexist, and they made him less sexist. But seriously, if the character in the cartoon, I watched a few episodes with him, and he does make like childish, you know, boys versus girls, girls are stupid, those kind of comments, and you can't really put that onto film. It
Yes, you
works in a
can.
card. Well, I don't think you can.
Yes, you
I don't
can. You
think you
can. That's
no,
how you supposed to, have a
no,
redemptive
no.
arc
But
of
he's
someone without
16.
showing them
Hang on,
something.
right? He is a 16-year-old. Okay,
Hmm.
and when you put that 16-year-old in real life, people are just going to think prick, right? Whereas in a cartoon, it works. But if he was a 5-year-old, yes, but you don't. If you see a 16-year-old going, girls are stupid, girls can't do anything but work in kitchens and that kind of shit, at 16 you're going to be like, hang on mate, you're being a bit of a dick, right? So I can understand why they dumbed down some of that, because the character looks 16 to 17-year-old. He's meant to be a warrior, he's meant to be killing men. He can't really, I'm not trying to say in the modern day audience, you just think he's a prick. You'd think he's a prick,
Is the
right?
character
And
supposed to be a prick though? Because if the character's supposed to be a prick, let
no,
them be a prick.
but it actually generally is down to psychology. When we see it in a cartoon, we forgive more things, and we when we see it in real life, we react differently to it, and that is absolutely true. So it is a psychological thing. So I didn't mind that change, right? I get some people want it to be completely respectful to the source material. I think this was far more respecting the source material than the movie did, by the sounds of it, and certainly the
Oh,
casting was way better.
dude, I did a doodle on a post-it note, and that was more respectful to the source material than the movie.
Not having seen the cartoon, I really quite enjoyed this. It was 8 hours of television where there wasn't like one character that had to be gay. There wasn't Whamming immediately better. The girl who was training to be a waterbender actually goes on a journey. It explains why her powers become so good. Aang helps her for her powers. She's not just immediately awesome. She's pretty shit when she first
Yeah.
starts out, and she goes on a character's journey. God fucking Lord forbid that characters go on journeys to become better. Who would have known? So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it because it was refreshing. Having watched a few episodes of the cartoon, I actually think so far the changes that they've made are not that egregious. They've made Aang slightly less childlike. Again, it kind of makes sense in live action. It's similar to what they've done in well in this, and if you haven't seen Luffy, you need to watch him. But One Piece, they did that. If you watch the cartoon in One Piece and then watch the characters are a bit more grown up, and it feels similar in what they've done. Avatar is less grown up than One Piece, but I enjoyed it. Is it One Piece? No, but it was good. It was watchable. It was enjoyable. The story of what the protagonist, who you think is immediately a bad guy, actually by the 6th or 7th episode, you really start feeling sorry for him, and you actually really relate to him. And even when he does bad things, you know why. And actually, the true bad guy really hasn't shown himself that much yet. And so it was, to me, it was well done. It was mostly well cast. There's one or two annoying people in it, but it was mostly well cast. I know some people are not happy with all the changes that they've put in there, but again, I think if you're looking at it objectively, it was 8 hours of reasonably good TV with very little modern audience bullshit in it. Whereas it could have been, they've got that, it is minorities in effect what they're casting here, and when it comes to Western television, and there was none of that on show, where it was all like, what I mean. There was no modern day shit. So I'm not surprised that it's got a season 2 and 3. It was watched by a hell of a lot of people. There is a lot of chatter about it on the internet, but as they say, all publicity is good publicity, and when it comes to this, it's convinced Netflix.
But as I said before, it happened and then it died.
I keep hearing about it throughout. I
I
keep, but maybe that's because I'm on social
only
media,
person I've
whereas
heard
you.
about it is from you.
Well, it's because I still have social media accounts, so it pops up on my social medias a lot.
Oh, don't blast me for getting rid of my
No,
social
no, I'm
media
not blasting
accounts.
you. No, no, no. I want to get rid of my social medias.
Then
If
get
I could
rid of
get rid of,
them. You got
yeah,
WhatsApp
well,
or thing. Why can't you?
because my missus sends me stuff, and it's some of the way I stay in contact with people that are in the UK, and I don't have on WhatsApp, and it's a way, but I don't particularly get involved and comment like I used to. I found myself getting involved way too much, and I don't do that very much anymore. But there is chatter about it still. Um, Less so than One Piece. Less so than One Piece. But look, they got solid numbers. Netflix saw the solid numbers and they greenlit it. And bearing in mind they've cancelled something else that I really fucking enjoyed, and I'm really annoyed about that, which was the Asian brothers comedy. It had Michelle Yeoh as the mother, and it was about these two brothers, one who's a dweeby college kid and the other one who's a freaking assassin for a like a yakuza mafia thing. That was genuinely quite fucking watchable, and they've cancelled that, so that was a big gutted about that. But
Oh,
glad that you got this. This was all right. This was all right. I know it's not your kind of thing because you didn't like the cartoon that much, and I get it. To me, it has a sort. I like sort of the Asian stuff a bit. So I kind of liked this. I kind of liked the monks thing. I liked the thing. I liked the flying fucking six-legged bison. He's cute. But that's where our tastes differ slightly. And I quite enjoyed this. So I'm kind of glad
yeah,
it's got another couple of seasons. There are.
yeah. Sorry, I just noticed a comment in the thingy, so I'm just watching this back on the live stream, and you can't see me being choppy, but everyone else can see me being choppy, which is really annoying. So I think I'm going to turn my camera off.
You might want to
So
say, ask if your son is playing something or something on the
no,
internet.
I can hear him. What he does is my son sits in his dressing gown and just lays back and strums his guitar at his computer, and that's not a euphemism. That's actually him playing his guitar. I know because he broke his bloody E string and he was annoyed. So I'll have to keep the camera off just because it makes things a little easier.
Cannot make
Okay,
any dent
so
with twanging his banjo. I'm sorry.
no, so
Yeah. Have we got one
again,
more?
I'm gonna go back to an argument I had a couple of weeks back again with the whole streaming versus syndicated TV argument, where if this was on TV, this would just be pushed to season 2. They wouldn't say about season 3. Yeah, they would just go season 2. That always makes me worried because maybe this is the thing is maybe because it's perceived as diverse that they don't want to cancel it.
And actually, in this particular case, I know exactly why, because the original cartoon had 3 seasons, and each season this adapts. So this season 1 finishes exactly the same place as the cartoon did. So I
Okay.
suspect that they're just towing the cartoon line, because then they span it off into a new series with a new avatar that was 75 years later. So I know a little bit of the history. That's the reason I think they've announced 2 and 3, so that they are adapting the original cartoon effectively and they're doing it like the cartoon did. The cartoon was only 3 seasons.
Okay.
That's what I suspect on this one. But you're right about normally, because they're talking about season 2 of Shogun, and anybody knows anything, Shogun is 1 book, 1 season of TV. It's a remake from a 1970 whatever it is series. There is no season 2. No spoilers as to why.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So should we move on to our next story then?
Yeah, you like this because
Oh yeah. What did you put? The fuck is Sweet Baby Ink? All right, so I'll explain in a second. The recent scrutiny of Sweet Baby Inc., a narrative consultant company focused on inclusion, has sparked significant debate within the gaming community and industry. Mainstream media and outlets and video game developers have come to the defense of the company, framing criticism as an overreaction of the Gamergate controversy. This situation highlights the ongoing tension between efforts promoted efforts to promote diversity and inclusion in video games and the backlash from certain segments of the gaming community. Right, basically, forget your fucking audience because your audience isn't your audience. So that 80% that actually buy your shit, no, focus on the 20% that don't buy your shit, yeah? And then wonder why your game fails. Please see Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League as an example. Yeah, I hate this shit. I hate this with a passion. Yeah, we've got a company. There was a big figurehead in Gamergate was Anita Sarkeesian. Yeah, this is what a successful Anita Sarkeesian looks like because she's not very fucking successful because she's disappeared up her own arse, which is fantastic. And she had a. Did you see the pictures of her birthday party where she had a fake wedding? She had a
No,
fake
but
wedding because she's never going to get married, so she figured she might as well have a birthday party like it.
well, she
How
hates men.
fucking sad. Yeah, I
I mean,
know.
she hates men. In all due respect, if you hate men to that degree, who's going to marry you unless you get
Yeah,
married to another lady, which is fine.
but she doesn't
But
like
no
other
man's
ladies
going to
either.
marry
So
you.
yeah.
Yeah, she
So
doesn't. Most women
going
don't like her either. That's true.
yeah, going back to Sweet Baby Inc. Sweet Baby Inc. Basically, they come in and they ruin your stories. So if you want to know why, when you played Spider-Man 2, Miles Morales replaced Peter Parker at the end of Spider-Man, it's because of Sweet Baby Inc. They the chief head of Sweet Baby Inc. has come out and says that she wants to replace all the white males and everything. If you want to know why Batman was shot on a park bench unceremoniously by Harley Quinn without any kind of speech or fanfare or anything, it's because of because of Sweet Baby Inc. Because they are the ones who had input into this, thinking that this was a good idea. That shitting on your main audience and your primary source of income, and I'll say it again, your primary source of income somehow is good business sense, and it's not.
Mhm.
And it needs to. This shit needs to go, and it needs to die. Yeah, not respect. This comes back to not respecting source material, not respecting your audience, not paying attention to anything going on. Yeah, that actually makes a bloody difference. Yeah, it drives me up the wall. Yeah, it's you've got people like Kotaku, The Guardian. Oh, great, Insomniac Games. Again, these people did Spider-Man. Oh, apparently they've DEI'd the Wolverine game. So I'm not. The story's going to be shite. Yeah,
Did
it,
they have
it
anything
is.
to do with Hogwarts Legacy by any
No,
chance?
no, it
So
didn't.
that was done because, again, that stuff in Hogwarts Legacy was so sort of
On the
contrasting.
nose.
Yeah, because it was it was totally out of sync. The Wizarding world still might have had different views, but again, it was set over 100 years ago. There's no such thing as a goddamn trans fucking barmaid 100 and sort of odd years ago working in a Victorian pub. It's just not real. And the trouble was, it was made even worse by the fact that most sort of trans people take some sort of medication to make their voices sounds like this man. You couldn't have had a more male voice unless it was played by somebody like fucking Ray Winston or Vinnie Jones.
It would have been
I
great
mean,
if it was Ray Winston.
hello. Oh, my name's Jemima. What do you want?
Yeah, it's
But it was on that kind of level of bad. And then they had this whole sort of thrown in speech about it. And, they had to throw in this whole sort of like mistreatment of trans thing in there. And again, Harry Potter, 100 years ago. It just doesn't belong.
mm,
And look, I know that yours and my views are slightly different on this, but in here, I'm wholly in sync that it just didn't belong. And the thing with Spider-Man 2 is, again, the lack of police there
and Fire
really
Brigade.
showed up. And you do get the fire brigade now and again, but not like you did in the first game. And
No.
the fact that every fucking person I rescued, every time I rescued a man, he said the same thing. My husband will love you. And there was a lot more of that than, oh, my wife would love you. Look, again, what is wrong with being a straight white male in this day and age? I mean, seriously.
I've come to the conclusion that it's what do you call it? It's a form of fucking jealousy. It really is. It must be a form of jealousy. I can't explain it any other way. This is like how a bitter girlfriend reacts when you find out you've got a new girlfriend. You know what I mean? It's so odd,
Um,
and it doesn't.
yeah,
For me, yeah. This is the thing. This is how this happens. Yeah. So I need to fund a video game. Yeah, and my video game's going to cost, I don't know, 120 million. Yeah, so I need to go out to people. So I go to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers go, we'll give you 20, but you got to find 100 million from somewhere else. So I go to other investment companies, and you've got investment companies that are insisting on having these things in. Yeah, this is like a weird kind of thing, and people behave and react to this thing like a bloody cult, and it's so annoying because it's just a case of, dude, tell me a story, and make it good. Yeah, because what you're doing is these narrative consultants can't tell a fucking story. Where's the authority? Where is we have this writer? He or she worked in the TV industry between '92 and 2008. They retired, but we then brought them back in to then help with these stories. Yeah, none of these people seem to have any kind of qualifications to do this. Oh, we've got a qualification in marketing. That's not a narrative qualification. That's not a storyline telling qualification. And I can see this going on for months because the
mm,
other part of it too, there was a guy on Steam who put together, curated a list of all the games that Sweet Baby Inc. were involved in. And the idea was that by educating the buyers, we could sit there and avoid the games that they had at hand in. Great, yeah. I've been enjoying Helldivers 2 at the moment, yeah. Sweet Baby Inc. have had nothing to do with that, yeah. They've literally just lifted as much stuff from Starship Troopers as they can get away with. This shit's going to be going on for ages. DEI, yeah, is a stupid thing. It's the stupidest thing ever. Before this stuff came up, we were getting to where we were planning on getting. People were becoming like kind of colorblind. We never gave a shit where you stuck your genitals. Yeah, and now that's the primary thing. We're talking about like segregation in fucking universities and stuff. And like kind of it's like a segregation in universities and in the workplace. Oh, we'll have the women's group, we'll have the BAME group, we'll have this group, we'll have that group. Why are you segregating these people off? You're going to start giving them different bathrooms too. That doesn't sound right in my eyes.
but
That sounds dystopian, horrible shit. I
yeah,
just liked
but
the idea. All I had to do was just look at someone and say, "Are you an asshole?" That was it. It was just that simple. I looked at you and go, "Hey, you look like a nice guy." Yeah.
mm,
I don't get it because that's how I want to be judged. If I come in and I've got a fucking face like thunder and I'm being a dick, and they look at me and go, "That's an arsehole," yeah, that's fine. I can accept that. Yeah, but I don't want them sitting there and go, "That's a white guy." That's the last thing I want. I
uh,
want people to judge me by my conduct. Sorry.
it's true. It's true. It's true. And I genuinely don't understand what's going on with this at all. I don't understand why these people. I heard that one of the things they do is offer loans or something, or is that another company
Yeah,
that?
that's BlackRock
Yeah.
and Vanguard offer loans, and they push
Okay.
it through. There's a guy called Larry Fink who's obsessed with it. All I can imagine that he's stuck his dick in some intern, and it was her idea, and it's just come across. I think if
Mm.
I met him in real life, I went, who the fuck did you fuck to come up with
I
this stupid idea?"
I mean, these things happen, but Spider-Man 2 was a lot of the narrative was hugely ruined by the fact that this stuff was shoehorned in. It's not even intelligently done. You know, do you want inclusion of women and more in things, and yet now women are very badly written, far
Oh,
worse than they were written 10 years ago.
yeah.
And despite what you believe, not every gay man needs to see himself on television. It's very much a women thing to put herself into the thing, and that's
Hey,
again, that's fine. And I did see her speech,
oh,
so I know
hang
where she
on,
goes.
hang
I
on.
didn't see. Yeah, yeah. Go
When
on.
you finished, remind me to tell you about the Lego thing.
But I know about the Lego thing. But the I spoke to a gay friend, and he was like, I don't need to see. Not every character I watch on the television has to be gay. Not every. I don't need to see a gay man in everything. I don't need to see a bunch of lesbians in everything. It feels disingenuous. the TV series like Queer Man for whatever it was called, the Russell T Davies original thing that really launched his career was good. But even they've said now, I watched Doctor Who and it's just stupid. It's trying too hard. It's pandering to the wrong people. And I've heard these views from more than one person who's gay, and it's ridiculous. And just Spider-Man 2, and it was deliberate. It was deliberate. Like Digital Spy on an Apple browser and thingy, it will give you a preview of the site, which you can control. Digital Spy purposefully have two men kissing, and it's been there for 6 months. And you can control what the preview screen is, so it's done on purpose. It is deliberate. And look, you have to respect everybody, and there is a balance to this. And yeah, the Sweet Baby Inc., they're a bunch of racists. And that silly cow that made that speech, where it was all me. It was all very narcissistic. It was all, the first time I saw myself in a game. What was it she was talking about? The character
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect, where you can literally be fucking anything, right? It's that level of control. What's the problem with it?
Hold on. I heard that. I pissed myself laughing because in my brain I was like, could you imagine, right, Mass Effect, yeah, you've got the default Shepard to be the male or the female version, yeah? And then Cerberus then rebuild your body from the leftover bits from the Collector attack, yeah? And when you get to looking yourself in the mirror, yeah, your face is all fucked up because I've done a really shit job.
Here's the thing. She can fuck off about character creation, right? Character creations are not racist, right? The mobile me, every character creation is not racist. You know what most character creations are? Fattest. You can't be fat. I can't see me in any kind of bloody thing because you can't make the face big. Fuck you,
Starfield, you can make a fat person in Starfield, but no one's playing Starfield. No one cares about Starfield.
I don't know what's playing it, and who cares about Starfield? It was shit.
Yes, true.
But you know what I mean. And I was just listening to her sitting there going on about it. I was just like, "What are you talking about? You are creating controversy where there is none. Like a lot of these people create racism, sexism where there is none, and without getting political, you've got nations literally using it now as an excuse, right? Even though religion and nations don't join. I wonder, using the two when they are very different things, right? And it's happening everywhere. And now nations are using it to literally kill people. It's the same fucking mentality. It is the same mentality. And people who say that why do we care so much about this in entertainment? Because it's the same fucking mentality, right? And again, I'm not going to get too political. I'm not going to go down that line. But religion and state do not connect together. You can like a religion and not like the state. It doesn't mean you're anti-Semitic. Yeah, I've said it now. You know what I'm saying, right? I can criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic. And it's the same mentality. So Baby Inc., companies like this, they're dangerous.
Me and you will talk about the Israeli thing after, because this is a pop culture show and not a political show.
I'm using it as an excuse.
I know, but if someone turns up on your doorstep and murders 1,400 people, we might have some kind of response. I hope.
Yes, I get it. Right,
but let's hang on a second. Let's move on to the chat. But before we do that, a little message.
You're listening to the Monkey Nut Punch podcast.
One of the bad.
Sorry.
One of the bad ones too.
Why? What's wrong with that
podcast
one?
Directories. No, it says on all good podcast directories, also the bad ones.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Time for the comments. Right. So let's get to the comments, shall we? Sorry, gents, for keeping you waiting. So first in, Chuck beat Biffa this week. I'm amazed.
That's the first.
Cool. That is a first. So we can't award firsts like you can on Twitch, but yes, be sure to X the chat and hit the like button. Come back to the live chat. So yeah, just give us a like somewhere. That'd be great. I don't know if the YouTube is a fail or if it's my internet, because I think the missus might be doing something downstairs. I know my son's playing his guitar, but I don't think he's streaming anything. So I'll have to check that out. Somehow they took what was bad about YouTube and raised the bar for a fail. Someone's not getting their views.
Yeah, Chuck's not loving YouTube at the moment.
No, we love you, Chuck. Chuck, we love you. Go watch Chuck. Go to Chuck's channel. Watch the Iceland stuff.
Cute horse.
But
Cute horse.
I want you to do a favour. Go to the comment section on the video where Laurie is trying to talk Icelandic.
She did a better bloody job than I do.
Yes, exactly. I'm just like, oh, come on, Chuck, man.
The only thing is, should have gone at the end, gone, hurdy-gurdy. So I can't say.
Oh, come on, Keith.
Hurdy-gurdy. Sorry, okay. That's my.
And
my
then,
style.
as always, Biffa. Hello, Biffa. And then we've got new guy.
Oh, Biff. I've got something for you. I just saw it today. Lego are releasing a new Lord of the Rings set, and it's absolutely fucking massive. It's like 6,000 pieces, and it's going to be the tower from Sauron's tower. And I know it. My brain's gone a thing. Begins with a B. They are launching that eye and everything. Right, it's going to be like 1.5 meters fucking tall. I want to buy it so badly.
Oh my god, Keith.
She's going to kill me.
She's going to kill you.
It's got like little Sauron minifigs and everything. Oh god! And I thought Rivendell was cool, right? And Rivendell is cool. I've got Rivendell here. You can just.
Have you got off-brand Rivendell? Or have you got Rivendell?
Real Rivendell, and I've got it all set up with the Council of the Ring. So I've even got Gimli smashing his ring, his axe down. I said it.
Gimli having his ring smashed.
Anyway,
I'm such a child.
I so want it.
Right.
Anyway, go on.
We have a new gentleman in the chat, or new lady. I don't know. Bastello Maserati?
Yeah.
Dave Landau. Oh, are you Dave Landau under a thingy? Because if that's the case, that's cool. Last Dave Landau thing I watched was a video for Demoned Away, where they bugger a demon. And I'm going to leave that at that because Keith will ask me to explain. I'm not going to. Yeah, and got Be a Stupid Gamer Angel. He's sitting in the background doing office work.
On a Sunday?
Nice. Yeah, he's self-employed, so he's...
fair enough.
So he has to get his stuff done. I have no idea how nice we were about something, but hey. Oh, no, sorry. That was about Be a Stupid Gamer not annoying me. And he's saying he tries. He does it over WhatsApp. Or Telegram. Actually, if I showed you the Telegram channel that I'm part of, where they send shit to each other constantly. I always tend to I save it for a Sunday and look at it on a Sunday. And then we've got... Ooh, I want to know about DC. Oh, wait, hang on a second. It's a little political here. And I think that, the J6 stuff seems a little off. And I'll leave it at that. Steve! Hello, Steve. How are we doing? I hope everything's good. So, yes. And then... Yeah, my camera, it's not dying, it's my internet connection, something's up with it, it doesn't like putting the video through. It's fine, I think it's fine for Keith too, but when I check back on the YouTube feed, it's a bit wank.
It was slightly blotchy, but, you know, it wasn't anything.
Well, it's the choppy part. And then we've got Babster! Hello, Babster.
Hello, mate.
Yeah. And Chuck says you should stay on social media, Keith, because, yeah, social media's really good for your mental health. And for your privacy, and for your bank balance, and for people spying on you. And anyway, so yeah. Oh, great. Okay, hang on a second. They're all saying hello to each other. Your insights in regards to a merger, but Your insights into a potential merger between Warner Brothers and Paramount. What's the implication for Star Trek, given WB's history with DC Comics? There might be concern how this could impact Star Trek. Right, it goes like this. Couldn't fuck it up more than Discovery and the first 2 seasons of Picard. Which has already happened.
The fact is, we're over a year after Picard season 3, and there are still lots and lots of people talking about Star Trek Legacy. So, first things first, if they merge, fire everybody who's in charge of Star Trek, because they keep making shows that nobody wants. Nobody wants Star Trek Academy. There's a reason why Discovery is ending after season 5, because there's only a small, be it dedicated fan base, but it's small, right? And they're making for the minorities again. They're making for the 20% when they should be making for the 80%. Stop it. Just fucking make one season of Star Trek and make it this Star Trek, legacy. I know there's people out there that like Strange New Worlds, and it is better than Discovery, but it's still not amazing. It's a prequel. Make fucking Legacy. And believe me, you will make money. You will please the most of the fan base, and even the people that love Strange New Worlds. A lot of them liked Picard season 3. Did some of them, prefer Strange New Worlds? I get it, but I don't. Given a choice, I want Legacy. I'm fed up of all these stupid cartoons. I know some people love them, but Star Trek isn't that. Star Trek shouldn't be parodied yet. I get it that some people like parodies. I respect it. It's not my cup of tea. I just want fucking Legacy. Make it. That's my view on it. If they join, the first thing they should do is fire these idiots. Give DC a chance. Look, everybody's criticizing this at the moment. I get it, but give James Gunn a chance. Let him make a couple of things. His Peacemaker TV series was quite good.
Yeah, I'm giving that. I will give him a chance. If the problem is he has to nail Superman out the gate, because otherwise,
yes, no,
because
I agree.
he can do the funny things, but Superman's going to be on the quite serious side, along with Batman. So
give that a chance. Fire the fucking people that are in charge of Star Trek and just put Metalis in charge. Just throw a bunch of money at Metalis. He should be head.
I think. Yeah, I'm going to leave for it. I'm not going to say it, but I think I found the comment of the podcast. There's a round of applause. Keith could be Mario's twin brother. Now, I'm assuming you're talking about Mario who works at the Faraway Pizza in Addlestone. They do look alike, but Mario is extra greasy. Right, okay. Get the AliExpress version of Lord of the Rings set half price. Is it really? Is it worth?
It's less than that. And the problem is look, I have got a few fake Lego sets. The trouble is with the fake Legos version of Lord of the Rings, the minifigs are nowhere near as good. They don't have the full elven hair, and there is actually changes to the model. I did my research, so in the end I splashed out. But Lord of the Rings is quite, well, as you know, as a long-term listener of this podcast, is quite special to me, and this set is quite special. So it's on display in my pride of place of the cabinet, and I love it. It's beautiful. I mean, I love the artwork from the movies. I liked what they did with Rivendell, and that Lego set was awesome. 30 odd minifigs when you include all the statues, and you've got like Isildur, the sword at the back with another. There's so many little hidden details in it. So if it's anything like that, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, Barad-dûr, there you go, I remember it now. The Barad-dûr Tower is going to be amazing. Okay. So I'm really looking forward to it. Big Lego fan, as you might know. You can fucking. So
be a stupid gamer. Yep, I work on Sundays. You know what? I've been at last three weekends. I've worked on every single day of the weekend to make sure I try and get level pegging with what's required of me. Because all of a sudden everyone needs me, which is nice, I suppose.
I mean, in fairness, I work every other day than Sunday, so I feel you.
He works every other day. I work Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Sundays, and then Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. He works every other. Okay, all right, fair enough. So we got that, and then we got Laurie. Hello, Laurie. Chuck has Legos. He's not started yet. Keith will have to come and visit. Maybe we have our basement remodeled by then for more Lego space. Yeah, it's a lot of Legos.
Yeah, actually, Chuck's sitting on some pretty cool sets that he's got to build. I know he's got a couple of sets that he should be building. You still got to build that Back to the Future set. Nothing else. That's the one that you need to build.
True. Yeah, Be a Stupid Gamer heard about the Warner Brother thing with Star Trek. That would kind of rule. I don't know. I don't know. But definitely, I can definitely say that Star Trek Discovery absolutely stinks. I watched the first 2 seasons of that. The first episode. Poor Nigel, yeah? I watched the first episode and then Nigel came over to my house, yeah? And then I broke down the first 15 minutes in excruciating detail why it was wrong and why it didn't work. But hey. So, yeah. Yeah. So, they're all chatting about working on Sundays. I need to build the Back to the Future as it has a flying DeLorean. All right, so you guys have been chatting away to yourselves in the chat, which is cool.
I will say something just about that. Laura, it's tax season at the moment, so bless her, she's probably working on as hard as us.
That just seems like utter bollocks to me. I'm sorry. What's the point? PAYE first, and then sort out your VAT on stuff.
Their tax season,
I know they don't have pay. They don't have PAYE.
It's hellish, and yeah, I know.
That probably explains why Be a Stupid Gamer's in the office too.
Possibly.
So yes. Okay, that's all right.
Anyway, right.
All right. So before we start, we're going to talk about June 2, and I would like to do this. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it.
So the reason I put that in there was because talking about June 2. Now, everyone. All right, I'm going to be controversial here. Everyone really loves this film to the point they're comparing it to Empire and Lord of the Rings and this, that, and the other. It's a good film. There's no two ways about it. Was it as good as everyone made it out in my eyes? No. It suffered from fucking pacing issues and editing issues. It was beautiful. And every frame was a perfect picture. The downside to every frame being a perfect picture is he kind of lingered on the bits too much. That's fast. I hadn't even got my pants down. I'll put it on at the end of this, all right? So, yeah, I watched it. I enjoyed it. Zendaya was, how can I put it, fucking pointless. All she was there for was to do the guilty girlfriend thing at the end.
Yeah, which is not what she does in the book. So my only criticism, I enjoyed the film. Is it Empire State? No, but we'll talk about the pacing issues because I have a slightly different view. But the one thing that annoyed me is Zendaya became Californian. And I'm not sure this was Denis Villeneuve. I think this was the studio putting this in because Channy in the book understands why Paul offers to marry the princess. He's only doing it, like in olden days, families married to sort of cement power, and even the fact that Leto doesn't marry the Lady Jessica, even though he loves her. Jessica understands why, because in the future they might be able to form an alliance with one of the other great houses. It doesn't mean that Atreides loves her any less. It's about the politics. The whole thing about June is it was about religion and politics. Those were the two center things to it. And Chani understands that Paul loves her, and has no intention of doing anything with the princess. It's all about control. It's about, he's taking over the empire, and it's a way of trying to gain some control over in the book it's called the jihad, that he's just literally let loose on the galactic empire. And for her to go off like some jilted woman in this was really annoying. Actually, it's the one thing that doesn't make this perfect, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. So
And I am
for
agree with you.
me, it felt a little long in places. We could have done some streaming down on. And I'll be honest with you, a good editor would have sat down. I know that the thing is that Denis Villeneuve, it felt like a book adaptation, a good book adaptation. Because when you get good book adaptations, good book adaptations tend to follow the pacing of the book. But pacing of books is not the same as pacing of films. So when you had the David Lynch version, I prefer the pacing in the David Lynch version than I do in the Denis Villeneuve version. I do need to watch them back to back, because if I watch them back to back, I'll have a different feel about the whole thing. I know I will, and it'll probably make a lot more sense to me. And just a quick one, in the 80s version of Doom, did Paul fight Gurney at the end?
No,
He was Patrick Stewart.
no, Gurney.
If
No,
it was Sting.
No, Sting is the Sting character is who the Butler character, Aston Butler character is in this version. He is the things that are changed. So the time they didn't have the time gap, because when Paul goes, basically goes to kick the Emperor's ass, it's 2 years later, whereas this didn't happen. But either Jessica can gestate that baby a lot longer than she needs to, because there has to be a big time in, from the beginning of that film to where that happens. It's got to have been at least a year in order for those events in the film that you see to make sense. And in the book, it's 2 years, and it isn't.
I was going to say also the 2 year gap too makes more sense. Where it's like, oh, Paul Atreides is still alive, because if it's been 2 years and no one's heard fuck all from him, and you've assumed he's dead, you'd expect him to turn up with that like 6 months or 9 months after.
Well, you see, I mean, Bene Gesserit can already control their bodies to the extent that they can choose the sex of the baby, right? And I think this film almost implies that Jessica delays the birth of the baby. Now, spoilers. In the book, it isn't Paul that kills the Baron. It's his fucking 3-year-old sister that kills the Baron. Because when Jessica drinks the worm piss, because that's effectively what it is, it fucking alters the baby. And I'm not going to spoil what happens in Messiah, but you kind of get a hint of it in the dream sequence. But there's a couple of things that happen in Messiah, and it will make sense. So there is such a thing as in Dune as genetic memory, which should give you a hint when you find out who their grandfather is. But by the way, Messiah. Sorry, Jason Momoa's back.
Yeah, I know.
He's even handsome in Lego form. It's really annoying. But in the book, but I preferred Paul killing the Baron. I actually like most of the changes they made in this book, bar one. In the film, bar one, and the pacing didn't bother me so much because I watched the first one again, and watching the first one again, actually, I like the pacing of the first one now much more, and it kind of carries on in the second one. So when I think you will change your view slightly, watching them both together. I do feel this could have been slightly shorter, but I loved it. I thought it's one of the most cinematic films I've seen in years. It is a film that it is one of the only films that I can truly, honestly say is way better on the big screen. There are moments like, I talk to students, and this week we're talking about 4D films and 3D films, and we're saying like most 3D films and 4D films are just not worth it. There's only 2 3D things that I've ever seen that made it made use of the technology well, right? That one of them was Doctor Who, and the other one was that one scene in Avatar when they're up in the trees and the sea pods come out. That was truly amazing, made even more awesome seeing it on the big screen. But it was one moment in a film. There is a Chinese film called Pegasus, which is about a rally driver. Seeing that in 4D makes sense because it's filmed from the aspect of the driver. So when you're being thrown around in the fucking rally car, being thrown around in the seat kind of adds to the experience of the movie. Dune 2, that scene when the Sardaukar are all lined up outside the Emperor's ship, right? And the camera and the Sardaukar, you know how badass they are. I mean, they are literally, being fed the blood of their slaves, which you see in the first one. Fucked up, right? And these guys are kick-ass battle guys, right? They are scary motherfuckers, right? And you see like all fucking 10,000 of them lined up, and you're going, oh shit, how the fuck is Paul going to beat that? And then the camera sort of pans around, and you just get those 5 fucking giant worms coming straight at them. That is shit your pants moment, and it is made. You get the scale of it when you see it on the screen, and I want to go and see it in IMAX because I want to see it again. That was shot in IMAX, and I think it's going to be even more epic in IMAX. The cinematography of this film is brilliant.
Before we carry on, it had a budget of $190 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Marvel films, yeah, they have similar budgets. Yeah. This is what you get. This is what I expect from a film that says it has a budget of $190 million. Yeah. It wasn't. As I said, it was a good film, but it looked fantastic. And it's mad that you can think of that. You get the Marvels who had a higher budget than this, and it looked like a fucking CW show. And I don't know. I really can't explain why.
I get why people are. Look, it's not Empire Strikes Back. It's similar in tone to Empire Strikes Back in some of the things that happen. Is it going to be compared to being one of the great trilogies if they make Messiah, and they are making Messiah? I think it will, because I think I know how he's going to end this, and actually I think it's going the truth of the matter is I understand why people are talking about it in this way, because they don't make movies like this anymore. They don't make movies for the cinema like that anymore. And it is a true science fiction piece. Is it everybody's cup of tea? No. Does it have the mass appeal of, say, Lord of the Rings and Star Wars? No, it's not going to. But it is a proper, real piece of cinema. And they don't make much like this anymore. And I enjoyed it for what it was. And it was a spectacle. It was a cinematic film with a good story. Are there problems with it? Yeah, there are a few. I really don't like what they did with Zendaya's character at the end. I don't, she was much more interesting in the first book when she was hardly in it. When they put her in this and making her more...
Hey, Zendaya, you're much more interesting when you're not in the film.
But I don't dislike Zendaya, but the trouble is she went to California in this. And the character of Chani was completely changed. And yes, Chani is skeptical, but not to this degree. And it just didn't work for me. The Fremen are mystical. The Fremen are mystical. And what's his face as the believer? What's his name? The boss, the character. He played it really, really well. I mean, he gave you that level of mysticism. He gave you that, as you went through the film, you were pulling back.
Do you know what I find quite funny is you start seeing the influences on the book. So if you look at it, you've got the Macbeth influence, yeah? The planet they come from is practically Scotland. Yeah, it's Caledonia. So you got the Macbeth influence. You got the Three Witches, which are the Benny fucking Jesuit, aren't they? Yeah. So you've got them doing the mystical shit. Yeah. You've got the Bedouins, who are supposed to be the Fremen. Yeah. You've got the kind of Lawrence of Arabia kind of storyline going on there with Paul. And then you've got the kind of backstabbing and stuff of all the other Shakespearean plays like the Richard III and whatnot. Yeah. And it's And because Denis Villeneuve did such a good job, you could see the influences of where they came from, and it was not a bad thing. And they're good influences. If you're going to steal from the best rather than steal from some shitty writer. Probably me. But it was, again, I need to watch them back to back. I reckon I will probably enjoy them more back to back than now.
There were moments that I enjoyed. I thought the fight scene at the end, not having ever any music over it, and just having the raw aggression of these two characters.
Oh, that was
brilliant.
great. That was you could see what was going on too. More importantly, because usually you get a fight sequence, it's these fast cuts of shit happening, and you have no idea what's going on. I blame the Bourne identity for that.
And you can clearly see that Denis Villeneuve was influenced by the original Lynch movie, because there's a scene in the Lynch movie which is in the book, but it doesn't have the emphasis that it does on film, and it works so well on film and I love the reverse of it, where when Paul comes back to confront the Empire and the fucking Revenant Mother gets on her high heels, and Paul just silences her with the voice, and she visually falls back, right? They had that in this, and again, it was brilliant when it happens, because you're like, yes, because she's a bitch, and she gets her comeuppance, and I love that, and again, it was on show here. I love What's His Face, but as the Emperor, he didn't work for me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, no, but then again, he didn't have much bloody material to work with.
Well, yeah, but the Emperor doesn't. But the Emperor should have been a bit. The Emperor should have been different. Yes, I mean, Florence Pugh was good, actually. I generally, Bene Gesserit trained. She was quite good, and again, there are. If you read June, there are chapters. They have quotes, right, and the quotes are all from her book about Paul, right, which she writes later on, and you see that where that came from with Florence Pugh's character, and I enjoyed her. I thought Aston Butler as the psychotic was truly brilliant.
Do you know what the worst thing is? Do you know what I refer to him as? I was talking to my father a lot. I was referring to him as Sting. I was sitting there going, because the guy who played Sting was fantastic. Because I couldn't remember the person's name.
Well, he played Elvis, and if you've seen him as Elvis, he was good. He's a good actor, and he's currently in Masters of the Air, again, and he's good in that. But he was brilliant as this, and I look, I really, really liked this film for what it was, and I think it is going to be heralded as a classic. But he's got to do the third one right. Now, the third one, I think he's going to adapt. He's not going to do Children of June, right? There's people going, oh, you can make the fourth one. The fourth one is way too weird, right? The June 1 and June books 1 and 2, they're good. It goes a bit batshit crazy after that. And when I say batshit crazy, Paul's son turns himself into a worm and rules for thousands of years. And that's the least insane thing in the book.
Okay. Right. Yes. So quick one. At the beginning of the first film, the first part and the second part, is it the Spacing Guild talking?
No, it's the Sardaukar. It's the Sardaukar.
Who the Sardaukar?
I believe. Those are the Emperor's army, because you see them in the first one. You see the guy chanting. When it cuts to the scene where the Baron's computer dude, I can't remember his name. I can't remember the name for them. Is talking to the Emperor's army. It's the Sardaukar. So it's the Sardaukar, because you see him. You see one guy standing on this tower going. It's the Sardaukar. So, but the Spacing Guild, you will see in the third one. You will have to see them in the third one. I'm wondering if they're going to call it June Part 3, or they're going to go with the name Messiah, because technically you've seen the first June book adapted now. Because where it ends,
just call it June Messiah. We can live with that.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with it. But yeah, it's not going to be a happy one. But if they do it right, it will be done well, I think. But I enjoyed this. Yeah, look, there are moments where it could be cut out, but I love the whole scene where Paul first rides the worm, and it's like nothing flash.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love it. Fucking finds the biggest worm and ends up riding it well. The only thing the film didn't do, it shows it, but unless you know the book, right? And it could have done with a little bit more exposition here, a little bit more explaining for the crowd. It's how they steer the worms. You know, they don't explain it, right? But where you see Paul tuck on and he pulls the flap, that's Paul doing it on purpose, because what that does is it adjusts the worm turns. Right? That by doing that,
the worm turns.
Well, that's how he climbs up on the worm. And in the book, it explains all this. So you pull these sort of flaps up, and Ares comes in, and it forces the worm to turn. The worm will turn, and that's how they control the worms. They are actually steering. They're not just sitting there fucking riding these fuckers. They are steering them and riding them like horses. And then it's the mysticism of the Fremen, and that's slightly done away with in this film. And you get it in the book because they are steering these bloody things. And when you say they are steering worms that are literally 1 kilometer long, you go, wow, that's a big fucker. So it's not without fault, but they don't make films like this anymore. They don't make films like this anymore.
Yeah, and it looks like the budget that was spent on it, more importantly. Okay, so we'll park it there, and just as we're getting ready to talk about Harry Potter, I thought I'd put this.
Hello there.
There you go. I played it in its entirety. Oh, we've got an extra viewer for that.
Just before we go on to, just before we do Harry Potter, because things we've been watching this week. 3rd episode of Shogun, really fucking good. And I mean, really fucking good. Really, really, genuinely, really bloody good. If you are not watching this series, you should be. It's bloody good. If you can take the Japanese subtitles, fuck me, it was good. Sorry.
Right, let's just quickly cover some of the bits in the chat. I've got a chance to, so I'll put the music back on because that's our music for the chat. Have you seen Sora AI, the new text-to-video AI service? It's so powerful that it forced film studios to close filming locations and cancel CG contracts. I don't know, because what I tend to find with AI is you ask it one question and then you wait and you ask it the same question again. It gives you a different answer. So we'll see what happens with that, because it's getting that consistency. Elite Battle Angel in 3D. I never saw that in 3D. I watched it in the cinema, but I didn't know it was a 3D version. I've got something
to admit. I've never watched Elite Battle Angel.
You've not watched it? I watched the anime film and the movie. I'll be honest with you. I don't like the story. The reason I don't like the story is you set up the overcity that floats, and we never get to go to it in that film. I know eventually you do, and you set a bad guy up, and we don't get to see the bad guy who's Edward Norton in this one. And I don't like the way that the Doctor Woman gets killed off either, which is a bit grim. We saw. I didn't get a bucket. I just bought regular.
You did not get the bucket. You should have got the bucket. It's a collector's item.
Yeah.
It's going to be a collector's item. It's all over.
Yeah, the ones that haven't been fucked.
I'm keeping mine. Mine's right down here. I'm keeping that. My wife was like,
"Oh, it's right under your table, Keith. I wonder why it's right under your table." Under the table. Hang on a second. I'm just watching Dune. Give me a moment. And talking about give me a moment. Pants down. Woohoo. Yay. Less is more. Anyone see Millie Bobby Brown's movie Damsel? No, I didn't even know she was in a film outside.
Oh, there's a new Netflix film out this week called Damsel, which is a feminine film, but apparently some people say it's quite good that don't usually go in for this kind of thing, so I might watch it.
Okay, hang on a second. I need to deliver this correctly. Of course it's under the table. Of course!
It's here.
I don't want to see it.
It's here.
Good job we can't smell it, ladies and gentlemen.
It does look dodgy. I will give you that. It does look dodgy.
The scariest fleshlight in existence.
God, if that's a fleshlight, mate, it definitely is about girth.
Oh my God, I don't know. Anyway, see, tragic. Mine's only 4 inches long, but it's 3 inches wide. So, okay. So, Chuck's pinned down. Oh my God. Black Sands Beach. Couldn't find the spot they used for Game Rose, but I think it was the cave.
Yes, there was Game of Thrones film there. Yeah, Hurdy-Gurdy Beach. Hurdy-Gurdy Black Sand Beach. There you go.
Yes.
Hurdy-Gurdy.
Keith is a beast. There's a cave further Tim and Finn went to. I don't know. I don't watch. Never. Yeah. I didn't watch that. And he thinks his wife's being clean because she can smell bleach. But you said you'd behave yourself this podcast, Angel. You said you'd behave yourself, and you're not.
Well, he's implying. He's not being outrightly. It's more implying.
Yeah, I know it's more implying.
Right. Let's talk about kids' movies, shall we?
Yes. Let's talk about a kids' movie. Hang on a second. I'm gonna put a bump in here just for my sanity.
Watching the content so far? Why don't you leave a comment and join in with us?
Right, so Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, not the Sorcerer's Stone, even though there is an extended version of the Sorcerer's Stone that I need to watch because I want to see. I don't know if it's got in what do you call it?
They never put
Rick Mail.
No, they never did.
Yeah,
they never.
They haven't put.
I've got the extended edition. I've got the two, that and the other one that they released, which is the second one, Chamber of Secrets. There's just a few added bits at the beginning with the Dursleys. So where do you want to start?
Okay, let's start with the first one. So obviously, everyone knows that out of all the houses, I'm in Slytherin, and from this video, we can tell that you're a fucking Hufflepuff.
Well, yeah, but this is actually a One Piece t-shirt.
I know it's a One Piece t-shirt, but for this, you're clearly a Hufflepuff. You're the wizards at the back of the coach, licking the window.
What's new?
Okay, so
Nothing wrong with Hufflepuff.
so let's. Sorry, my wife just came in to see how there's nothing wrong with Hufflepuff.
Thanks, Sally.
So let's talk about it. So, God, this was it 2001?
Yes, it would have been. And yeah, this is where you and I are going to disagree because I think this film was perfectly cast, and Richard Harris's Dumbledore was the way better Dumbledore.
No shit.
It was way
That's
better.
it. It's not an argument. He's shit. You look at Michael Gambon, and you tell me that if magic stopped working, he wouldn't just beat the shit out of Voldemort with his fists.
But that wasn't what Dumbledore was about.
No, hang
Dumbledore
on a second.
this is where
we'll disagree. Okay. So when we go to Harry Potter, I'm talking about the first film, and we'll talk about that. We'll throw in the first book, to even it out, He's not he's not like what what's his I can't remember his bloody name now. Richard Harris. Thank you. My wife could hear me from the other room. Richard Harris is described. He's more like Mr. Majika from the ITV series Mr. Majika. Yeah? Because the influences on Harry Potter were Mildred the Worst Witch, because she went to witch school, and Mr. Majika.
The first book I ever wrote. Read.
Was it?
That was the first book I ever read. Was The Worst Witch. Mildred Hubble.
So we've got that. We throw in the British schooling system. We throw in a boarding school along with that, yeah. And Roald Dahl is the other inspiration. You can see all of that running all the way through that first book and through that first film, yeah. So the Dursleys and him living under the stairs is very Roald Dahl.
Oh, I'll give you the Dursleys are pure Roald Dahl. Yeah, pure.
They
Roald
are
Dahl.
the twits.
Yeah.
The twits. Yeah, the twits.
Yeah,
and
Matilda's parents. Matilda's
parents and the ones from Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yes.
The farmers from Fantastic Mr. Fox. They're like them all wrapped up into one, and it feels so Roald Dahl. And book-wise, it's a great way of bringing you into the book.
Perfectly cast. Richard Griffiths.
Apart from Dudley's not blonde.
Yeah, okay, but and if you see him now, he's really slim, and you probably wouldn't. It has to be pointed out to you that that's the kid that played Dursley. But Richard Griffiths as Vernon was great, and what's her face as again perfectly cast. I love the first film for its casting. I know we're never going to agree on things, so we'll agree to disagree on that particular one. But Maggie Smith as McGonagall was fucking inspired, and she will always be McGonagall for me. And that's the thing I'm going to have a problem with in the TV series, because Maggie Smith was born to play that part. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's doing her an injustice, because she's amazing.
She's born to play lots of other parts. Do you know who her son is? Quickly.
No.
Toby Stephens.
Oh, do you want to know an even bigger one, right? And soap fans out there, right, will know what I mean. Do you know what's her face? The old sort of Mo from EastEnders, right? She's just recently come back, apparently. Do you know who she is?
Who?
Mo from EastEnders, right? The old one, you know, the proper East End one, right? Right. Oh. She's in it. She's Gary Oldman's sister.
She's Gary Oldman's sister.
She's Gary Oldman's sister. And when you hear her speak, because you know some of the inspiration for what's his face's character in the MI6 thing, that comes from some of that. Yeah, it is inspired by his sister's performance as Mo.
Oh dear. Anyway, that's a very tenuous link. So we get the film, and we start off with the Dursleys, and we get the kind of background for Harry Potter and whatnot. And you see the whole, they drop him off, and it's, as I said, very Roald Dahl up until the point that he gets the letter, and then he gets to go to Hogwarts, and then they get to meet. He meets the Gingers, what do you call it? I can't remember what they're called. The Weasleys. Thank you. The Weasleys. It's such a tragic name for them, because they're not very Weasley. Miserly maybe, or I don't know, poor maybe, but yeah, it's. And the one character I think is the most underappreciated in all of them, and she got a pretty good end, is Molly Weasley. Molly Weasley puts up with so much shit and gets so much done in comparison to all the other characters.
Again, what's her face playing her? She's just brilliantly cast. Yeah. Brilliantly cast.
Now, Harry Potter was okay. Now, my rule for children's actors are quite simple. Yeah, if you annoy me, you're doing it wrong. Yeah, if you don't annoy me, you're doing it right. Yeah, it's not whether you're good or bad; it's whether you annoy me. For children actors, yeah, very simple rule, because you can forgive them certain things in that. Yeah, because I know that. My favourite, it's not Gary Oldman. Who's the guy who plays Snape? I've forgotten his name now.
I've just had a mental breakdown.
I know. I've heard it too. It's fantastic. It's Hans Gruber.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman, yeah.
Alan Rickman. So Alan Rickman had very choice words about Emma Thompson.
Emma Watson.
What's her
Yeah,
name?
well,
Emma Watson.
that's
Emma
come to
Watson's
pass.
accent. She said he described her as being sounding a little Romanian. I think was the term he used. The way she talked when she was in that first film, and in the second film, and I think in the third film too. But they had that. They set them up and they put them together as characters and whatnot. And they, how can I put it? The film feels very. This is a weird thing to say. The first two films film like very. You can tell an American director directed them.
They are Chris Columbus style films.
Very, yes.
And there are, yes, no, I give you that, and I know what you mean. The problem, as you're going to find out as we go in, we're going to argue about that as well, but it bugs me. It doesn't bug you, but it bugs me, and it takes me out of the film, is the way everything changed in the third one. And the third one, because it was one of my favorite books, and it's the first book as an adult, I remember staying up and reading throughout the entire night because of the amount of information it was giving you. I liked the first two films because they remind. I think the thing was, I saw the trailer to Harry Potter and then went, "What the fuck is this?" And because I somehow never heard of it, and then people, were, how do you not know what Harry Potter is? You got to read the book. And I went and read the book, and I got the Mildred Hubble vibes. And it's amazing how you bring that up, because I've never spoken to you about that. But the first book that I ever remember reading all the way through was The Worst Witch. And that's what Harry Potter felt like to me. But I get what you mean, that there is an American feel, which I hope that this is why I am slightly excited about the TV series, because I think it's going to do it more justice. If what they've got to do is just have the continuity throughout, right, where things don't change location. But I know what you mean by it. But again, I look back at this first film with fondness. I know what you mean by Emma Watson, but look, Emma Watson's a crazy cow who, know, who is just nuts. And if you want to know why they're not making The Cursed Child, because of her. She says she believes in women's rights and blah blah blah, and then that what she's treating J.K. Rowling like. Anyway, that's another story. But she was the weakest of the three in the film. To me, the strongest was Rupert Grint.
Yeah. Out of the three children, Rupert Grint was the strongest. Yeah, he definitely was. He put the performance in there. You liked him. The problem is because he made it so comical. They took a lot away from him later on down the line, where he was explaining, because it's like, if it's from a book, Hermione explains it. If it's from the Wizarding World, Rupert Grint, Ron explains it. Rupert Grint explains it. Yeah, Rupert Grint from the real world comes in and explains it. The other thing that they don't put across in it is the film set in the it should be set in the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that almost works up until
92,
I think
91. Yeah.
Until the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Yeah. Where it gives you something a bit 21st century, where you get to see London, which you shouldn't have done, because it should have been a bit more timeless than that. Which is good. The other thing is the inspiration from chocolate frogs are Cadbury's Freddos.
Yes.
Because J.K. Rowling was very poor at the time, and buying chocolate, where you could buy a little 10p chocolate frog, and it was a chocolate frog. Not magical, unfortunately.
You see, the thing that the first one does so well is it establishes a look. And again, you can say what you like about Richard Harris. That when I read the book, having not seen him, that's how I imagined Dumbledore. I imagined Maggie Smith-esque character. When you read McGonagall, because I'd been watching freaking Downton Abbey, and Maggie Smith as the Countess Dowager in that is just fucking amazing. That was McGonagall for me. And again, I didn't know she was cast as McGonagall. And Snape, don't get me wrong, I love Alan Rickman. And when I heard him, I went, yep, that works for me. And it did, but unfortunately, towards the end, Alan Rickman looked a bit too old to play him, and they had to put a lot of makeup on him to get him to down to that. But mostly the casting in this was brilliant, and the look was brilliant, and I love the castle. To me, the Hogwarts castle in all of them is my favorite castle. I mean, I've got the miniature Lego model of it because it's gorgeous and I love it, and it just gives me that otherworldly magic feel, and they did that right. And I mean, again, Hagrid, God, was that perfect casting. God, Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid was just perfect.
Yeah. See, when I watched the film, and it was like, okay, I hadn't had no context of who, what do you call it, was Dumbledore. Yeah, so Richard Harris, okay, fair enough, he's Dumbledore. And the first wizard, the two wizards you'll always get compared to now is Gandalf and Merlin. All right? So whenever you think wizards, you go Gandalf and Merlin. And they look roughly the same. Yeah? Beard, pointy hat, yeah? Now, when I read the book, didn't come across like that. He came across closer to the Sylvester McCoy's Doctor / Mr. Magica. Yeah, he was a bit quirky, which Richard Harris wasn't. Yeah, in the book he's a bit quirky, he's a bit funny. Yeah, and that didn't come across from Richard Harris. Plus, Richard Harris sounded like he was going to drop dead at any moment, which he fucking did.
I think it was the look of him that made me. I never liked the look of Gambon's one, and I didn't like the aggression that Gambon had. That we've had this argument a million times. I know what
we're going to have it. We will have it again, and I will win when we get to the Order of the Phoenix. All right, when we get to the Order of the Phoenix,
I'm going to
win the argument.
Still doesn't mean I agree with you.
No, I don't have
to. Argument. I don't agree. It's not an argument. But look, I prefer the look of Richard Harris's Dumbledore. If we really go down and very deep, you probably have a good point about definitely about the Mr. Magica. And again, I know exactly what you're talking about because I used to watch Mr. Magica with the hair.
But do you want to hear the funny thing is by the third book, he was more like Richard Harris.
Yes.
Kind of in the second book, but when he got to the third book, he definitely started to feel more like Richard Harris.
I like
may be what they did, because by the time the film came out, I think that she was on the third book, so it would have happened like that.
You see, I have this is going to be an interesting 8 weeks because I have a love-hate relationship with these films. The first two films I like. The third film I'm not the biggest fan of, although I love Gary Oldman as Sirius Black. Again, most of the casting throughout all of the movies I don't have a problem with. It's some of the things I like. The fourth film, the fifth film I kind of like because the casting of What's-Her-Face as Umbridge was just fucking, again.
Yeah.
The casting of this was good, and it always was. And the world that they set up, which they then dicked with in the third film, I like the world they set up.
No, they didn't. Right. So the problem, Keith, this is the argument. The problem is they didn't set up a world. And when Alfonso Cuarón came in, he went, right, where's this in relation to this, yeah? And there was no setup. And because there was no setup, he went, right. And then he put it all together and it remained the same through. So in my eyes, Harry Potter starts from the third film.
I don't know. I know the reasons behind it. It just bothers me. And I get it. Look, I'm not saying you guys are wrong. All right. Every argument you make when it comes to this, you're probably right, but I can't get past it. And it's me. It probably says more about me than it says about the film. But I like the first two. I like this film because it is mostly how I pictured it when I was reading the book. And it's one of the only times that I've read a book where it's been put onto film and I've liked it because it didn't do... It's how I pictured it, mostly. I mean, again, Draco Malfoy was brilliant in this. Crabbe and Goyle is, even though they were, again, they were young kids in this, but it worked for me. Zoe Wanamaker as and again, she never in it again, which was a shame.
Yeah.
So
she said, "I'll come back for free."
I liked it. I liked the credit scene in this.
Right. So
But the more I think about it, it's just funny. I've never considered it until you said it, but you're absolutely on the money. That it does feel like an American version of England. It feels Disney in some places. You're right. You're absolutely right. You've said that
he's
now.
gonna
You've
come
probably
over
just
to my way.
No, you've ruined the first two films for me now, haven't you?
Yes, victory is mine.
Hang on, I'm going to get you back.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes, thank you. I just
The only thing I can do to get him back, Tanith, you see that? That's a Lego form of Jason Momoa.
the camera won't focus in on it, Keith.
Oh, no.
It's a travesty.
It's Lego Duncan from June, and that's the Jason Momoa character.
Anyway,
damn.
Okay. So things that were missed out from the film were Peeves is the big one.
Yes,
and Bins.
Rick Mail would have been amazing.
Yeah,
Rick Mail, and they've got to put Peeves in the TV version of this.
Yes. And the Bloody Baron was also not included.
Yes, and the Bloody Baron plays quite a vital role. He is in it at the end, but barely in the thing. Because we'll get to that, because there is one thing in that final film that really pisses me off about how the film does it versus how the book does it.
Hang on. I hate the book ending, and I prefer the film ending. The book ending, it is him and Harry and Voldemort in the bloody Great Hall, and they're walking around in circles, chatting shit at each other for 30 minutes, which is not very cinematic.
Still prefer it. But that's not the bit. That's not the bit that pisses me off about that. We can argue over the ending of that, but that's not the bit that gets me. It's another bit. But Creel was brilliant, well cast. And the thing about the film that I thought was daring in many ways was that they did keep Voldemort in the back of his head. And they sailed close to sort of like British film accreditations in that, because it's quite scary for a kid, and they did it, and they did it reasonably well for film. I mean, the special effects in this film are awful, and they are awful. They don't hold up by today's standards.
Certain bits do, and certain bits don't.
True. Certainly the bit where he's finding the keys is awful.
The brick bit where you watch the scene where he goes through Diagon Alley, has to do the thing with the bricks. That bit grates on me because that's so poorly composited. Yeah, it is. It feels so like it's glued on over the top. But going back to just the film, I like the way they set it up as a murder mystery sort of thing. It has that murder mystery. Who did it? Who done it? That's what I meant to say. A who done it in like storytelling wise. And you had the whole thing where they think Snape's the bad guy. And I the moment I watched the film, I went, no, Snape's the good guy. Snape's the good guy. We'll find out right towards the end that Snape's the good guy. I think I told you this in the pub when you and Martin came back from the cinema. And you said, what did you think about it? Snape's a good guy. And you know that Snape's a good guy. And you see it all through the film. Because Snape is trying to save Harry when he gets cursed on the broom. Yeah? You can see him trying to do it. It's great because you get to see Quirrell doing the same thing too. But you're not paying attention to Quirrell because it's done so well. And that they left out the potions thing that Botsy's put in, that Snape put in for the dungeon, where one kills you, one takes you back, and one lets you move forward. And he gives the one that takes you back to Ron Hermione so she can go and get help, and he takes the one to move forward so he can move on to that. You had the Mirror of Arasat, which I think in like headcanon, like Pottermore stuff, you've got it, and it says that Dumbledore sees his family all together if he looks into the mirror.
You know what
something along those lines. Yeah,
and it's mentioned in the first book.
Is it? I can't remember. I'm sure he doesn't say.
I've got to go back and read the passage. I'm sure it alludes to his sister.
He says. I'm sure he says something about his. No, I don't think it does.
No, but there is a passage where Harry doesn't believe what he says, and I'm sure there's something that alludes to what then you find out in obviously the 7th book. I'll have to go back and check that. I'll have to go back and check that there's something about there is something in that first book. When you read the 7th book, you go back and read it. Go, that's what he's talking about. There is something. There's a link. She knew then. You knew she'd mapped it. When you go back and read it, she'd mapped out that character's story because it's there. I know there's something. I can't quite remember. It is Dumbledore's design, but it hints at something.
I think there is a thing where he suspects that he's not telling the truth when he talks about it, and I think he also catches him looking at the mirror because he spends, I think in the book, he spends three occasions looking at the mirror in bits, and Dumbledore says that's when Dumbledore goes to him and says don't, because even he looks into the mirror every so often and sees things. It's a good as a children's story, and it's great because the Harry Potter books kind of grow up with the reader. As an introduction to a set of children's stories, it's great, and it feels the same with the film.
Yes, these films grow up with you. Yeah, as do the books. You're absolutely right. Look, again, not perfect film, but I love the castle that it creates. I love how it set up the wizarding world in such a way, and it does a lot right. Diagon Alley was amazing, and they didn't change that really, not much. And I love how they set up Gringotts, the goblins. I remember seeing those on the film and just being totally engrossed in that world. And the thing the film does do well is it engrosses you in the wizarding world, and it sets up things that work throughout.
Yeah, like the wands is one thing that gets set up with with the one's got a twin, and the twin belonged to you, or a person who gave you that scar. Oh, thank you very much.
The casting, I go back to the casting director of that film, genuinely brilliant, and it was brilliantly, it was really well cast, and I don't think there is a single casting really that I have a big problem with at all.
No, I can say the same for the first. Definitely for the first. I know at the time Richard Harris was probably the person to choose, and when Gambon took over, he said, "No, I'm just going to play it my way. If you want me to play Dumbledore, just do it like that and just have done with it." I like Gambon more than Richard Harris, and that's probably the only bit of casting. And the fact that they put a ton of makeup on Warwick Davis as Flitwick, because they took it away in the third film. And they made him a bit more, because I think Warwick Davis was like, I can't do this shit. I'm a fucking midget as it is.
Yeah, I actually, funny enough, prefer the look of him, except he should have had a greyer wig. The only thing that didn't work was the black wig for me, but taking the makeup away worked better.
See, it's weird. It works as the choir master, but not as the charms teacher, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no,
he looks like a choir master when he's like that, but he's the charms teacher.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. Vern Troyer played Griphook, and it wasn't Warwick Davis, but Warwick Davis voiced over Vern Troyer.
Yes.
In that.
Yes.
So yes.
Yes. I know, Tannis, check your messenger because it wouldn't focus. I had to send you a picture.
Oh, Christ Almighty! All right, let's wrap this up. So, give your final thoughts on the film.
Because there was a few things. I mean, again, when he goes back, I love where the movie ends. The whole sort of the extended version gives you a bit more of the Dursleys' sort of escapes and travels that you get in the beginning of the book. So the extended version works better for me, just because you get a bit more of the Dursleys. But again, I love the Dursleys in this. There's so much to love about it. And yeah, I'm just the guy that they got to play Quirrell works. I enjoyed these films. I enjoyed them. As I said, the thing that stands out, the legacy that this film is, it was its casting. And it nailed the main characters. And as I said, I think my favorite castings are probably McGonagall and Hagrid. I think those are my two favourite. Don't get me wrong, Alan Rickman as Snape is a close follow-up. But I love Maggie Smith as McGonagall. Just perfect. Perfect. So, hi, Bill. Is it working now? Good.
Is it working?
Good. Yeah, coast to coast.
All right. So hang on a second. Let's do the comments. So and right. So crikey, where was it? You know what that's the theme tune to, don't you?
Yes.
Which we need to do another one. Right. So okay. So where we're at. There we go. His wife thinks he's being very clean. Oh, yes, he smells of bleach. Yes, that's where we're done.
Yeah, we did that one.
I'm done with Photoshop, so yeah. I have no idea what's in common.
I think it was a reaction to the Rebecca Ferguson thing. Yeah.
None of that was Photoshopped. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So, to the cave in Game of Thrones. Maybe we should.
Yeah. They made Whoopi.
I'm not making Whoopi with you in a cave, Keith.
No, it says maybe we should know. She's implying that we know. Gareth won't know because it wasn't in the last 5 minutes of the episode.
I don't watch Game of Thrones. I watched the
Gareth
first episode. There was incest and almost child murder, and I was like, I don't think this is for me.
I told Gareth that you can watch Game of Thrones by watching the last 5 minutes of every episode and know exactly what happened.
Okay, so yeah, there you go. Look, one of the Game of Thrones caves in thingy.
Yeah.
How the hell do you pronounce that? If I fell down the stairs and I got winded, I'd probably make that noise.
Hurdy-gurdy. Hurdy-gurdy-gurdy-gurdy cave. Hurdy-gurdy-gurdy cave.
Alright, okay, so...
I wouldn't even know where to start.
Then we've got, look, Tanith was on it, the Weasleys, Alan Rickman, and then... Robin Hood. Alan Rickman in Robin Hood was fantastic.
Alan Rickman as the Sheriff of Nottingham will probably go down as one of the best bad guys of all time, alongside Hans Gruber.
I put a post up on what was my Instagram account of in loving memory of Hans Gruber, who was tragically murdered on the 24th of December. I've never heard of this film, Bottle Shock.
I do know what that is. I think I do know what that is. But you see, I saw Alan Rickman live in the the Amnesty International Secret Policeman's Ball, where he came on and he was one of the Yorkshiremen. Do you remember the original Yorkshireman sketch? Yeah. You think that was bad? I lived outside
in a shoebox. A shoebox?
And you don't realise it because he was in makeup, right? So when he comes on, they were all on makeup, and because it's a secret policeman's ball, you're quite far away from them. But it's when he starts talking, and it's funny because he starts talking, and everybody realised who he was, and they started cheering. So we had to start again because everybody realised who he was. It was like this collective. That's Alan Rickman. And then everybody realised it because that voice, you just couldn't mask that voice. You never have been able to. Love it.
Okay, so Tanner Scott, I love The Worst Witch. I remember watching The Worst Witch on ITV on a Sunday, along with Miss Majika, ironically. Yeah. So yeah, Tanith agrees. I think this is Tanith agreeing with me. I'm going to say it's Tanith agreeing with me because the next one is about Jason in Momoa. They had to map it all out because nothing was mapped out. They didn't know where all this stuff was.
I've been watching him in Stargate Atlantis. What a guy.
Tanith. Tanith's been watching him in Stargate Atlantis too. It won't focus. And then... I'm not going to ask what that was. And then she says...
She was talking about the mirror of Erisad and it equals desire.
Oh, Erisad. Okay.
Yes. She's not talking about a desire for Jason Momoa. We all know
thank God for that.
Oh, come on. Even you secretly desire him.
Not Jason Momoa. I've got a list of actresses. I have a list of actresses. The problem is I have to travel back in time for a few of them. So... He sees what Harry sees. His family. Okay, cool. And then we've got Coast to Coast. Hello, we're ending the show, but it's really nice talking to you.
Hey, Bill.
And I think he agrees with you, Dame Maggie Smith. Good casting. And then we've got kind of I guess.
See, I mean, I love her in almost everything I've ever watched her in. And I mean, the Countess Dowager, and she's the best thing about Downton Abbey. She's fantastic. I love her. She was brilliant in the hotel. What's his face? The one that's in India, and she plays this like really cranky old cow, basically. Who then at the end of the best exotic marigold hotel. She's brilliant. And if you've never seen that film, you should. Really good.
Okay. So we've got Coast to Coast saying, I guess earlier was a nut punch lol. And then they're trying to bring you back into the world of droning, Keith. They want you to.
I know.
So cool. So yeah, I started watching. So what's it? Backpack Jack. Oh, is it Backpack Jack?
Yes.
Has replaced you for your our Jackie has replaced you for the live droning show.
I know.
So,
she's great though.
The thing is I started watching the one with Chuck and Laurie where they're sitting on the sofa chatting, and I didn't get around to finishing it off.
Did you see it? Apparently they did a live stream where they were in full Icelandic thing.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh,
that's the one. I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link of this.
See, I couldn't find it. I'm not.
And Coast to Coast is just like me. Couldn't get into Game of Thrones because incest and child murder is not a thing I like.
House of Dragon is way better, in my opinion. House of Dragon is good. You have to watch House of Dragon. That's pretty good. But if you can't get into any of that, watch Shogun because it's really good. I'm gonna carry on banging this drum until you watch it because it's really good.
All right. I'll give it a go when I get a chance. Chuck claims it's been to the winery in Bottle Shock. No, sorry, you missed Wonka. I didn't see. I could have watched. I should watch Wonka. I've got a bloody cinema pass. I can go as many times as I want. I should watch Wonka. Chuck said it was cool, which is good.
I generally quite enjoyed Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa. And it's got Keegan from Keegan and Kel, the guy that plays Obama's anger translator, which those sketches still crack me up.
Okay.
Even now, it's brilliant. He's in it as well, and he's very good in Wonka.
So, bye, Steve. I'm looking at the camera, but it's not switched on. I don't know why I did that. Jackie Akers for the thingy, and then we've got. I enjoyed both the beekeeper and the
beekeeper.
I get the beekeeper. You're pulling my fucking leg with the bricklayer.
No, that's a film that's coming out. I know who you mean by the bricklayer, and I want to see that because the trailer looked good. The beekeeper is an English film, all shot in England.
Okay.
The American president is an English actress. In fact, she is, more importantly, in Doctor Who.
Okay. Hugh is genius. No idea what that is. And then
Hugh Grant as the
Oompa
Loompa. Yeah.
So Jay's on tonight.
Yeah.
Biffa says thanks for the show. Yes, because I'll send you the thingy, and then we've got ScarJo was funny on SNL last night. Okay, I'll see if I can grab some clips.
I heard that.
And that is where we will stop the comments. Ladies and gents, thank you very much for watching. We do appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope you like the new format. We still got to put some more polish on some of these things because I haven't got cards and bumps and stuff, so I can work out where to put chapter markers and stuff in the thing. But cheers. I'm glad that you enjoyed yourself, and we will see you next week. And I'll make sure we're broadcasting on the right channel and my camera's working. So it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me, and thanks for everybody in the chat because again, it makes it nice for us when people are actually chatting away in the chat. So really good. So as always, thanks for being here. Special thanks to Chuck and Biff. As always, you watch every week, so love you guys. Take care. Have a good one. See you next week. Bye bye.
An angel, behave yourself.